Evet, kaldığımız yerden devam ediyoruz. Buradan sonra daha bir aksiyon olacak gibi hissettirdi. Ya aksiyon dediğim tabii ki gerçek anlamda aksiyon değil. Ama cohesive olacakmış oyun. Abimizin dediğine göre. Nice room, not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the
Evet.
internet. All of the notes that
Geçen bölüm
you're
onu
going to
demiştim.
see have been written by Coda. This was
Geçen
actually the
bölüm
first
duyuyorum.
game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person.
Ha, tanıştığı zaman mı bu?
In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda offers, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Acaba bu playable game'lerden mi? Hı? Don't listen to that guy mı? He. Önceki konuşulanlar. Ben de bir an bizim dinlediğimiz kişiye yorum yapıyor zannettim. Ha, çok cool olurdu ya. Open sesame door how open. Makes game includes door cannot open door thanks. Adam kendi kendine konuşuyor. Açamıyor muyuz peki cidden? Evet. Ben de bu kişiyle tanışıyor olmak isterdim. Gerçekten değişik bir insan. Evet, kendini tanıyor yani. Yani ben bir masterpiece yaptım falan gibi değil. Gayet oynayan insanların ya da belki de kendi çok zeki oynayan insanlar aptal gibi de düşünüyor olabilir. Heh. Yalnız adam o kadar çok diyalog yapmış ki gerçekten değişik bir insan ya. Bunu da kendi mi çizmiş oturup acaba? İlginç, yeterince ünlü olsa çizdiği şey milyon dolarlara da satılabilir. I'm not safe. Evet, düşemiyoruz. Bunun hakkında yorum yaptınız mı? Evet. Bu oynayıp da acaba konuşmaya çalışan olmuş mudur? Şu an çıktıktan sonra değil. Bir Game Jam'de yapmış ya bunu. Game Jam'lerde de bir tane konu veriliyor. O konuya göre böyle verilen kısa bir sürede orada hep birlikte herkes oyunlar yapıyor.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Koda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
İlginç.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Koda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Çok zor olur mu düşünüyor bu puzzle?
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Bir kişi mi geçmiş demek bu? Aha, Stanley Parable'daki şey. Monitör kısmı. Burada değil ama benziyor görüntü olarak. Destination'ımıza geldik. Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, speak, speak, speak, speak. Blah. 2008'den kaça kadar gidecektik? Porn stars die too.
It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Okay. Arada bir tek monitörüm olduğu için kaç dakika olmuş diye bakıyorum. O sırada sizde de ses gidiyor mu onu merak ediyorum. Gidiyorsa özür dilerim şimdiden. İyi, gidemediğimiz bir yer mi burası?
See, like, this is it, the whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Koda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
The Giant Hole in the Ground. Ama Giant Hole değil bu. Neye basarsam basayım aynı şey yapacak. Test bakıyoruz. Hani table. Kimsin sen?
There's a bit more to this one, but still it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake. So okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Prison'dan başlayıp mı gideceğiz? Buraya dönünce insanın kafası karışıyor. Kaç derece döndüğüm hakkında hiç fikrim yok. Burayı bir daha görene kadar. Aşağı bakıp dönmeye başlasam yolumu kaybedebilirim bile. Bu sefer bir yönlendiriyor, bir şeyler yapıyor. Yani boşluktan bir şey var etmek yerine var olan şeyleri değiştiriyoruz şimdi. Floor lamp in this room off. Floor lamp bu mu? Touch the shelves. Beni hapishaneme götür abi. Boşluğa düşmem değil mi? Yok. Hayatın ne kadar amaçsız olduğunu öğrenip
And of
prison'ımıza
course,
geri mi
now
dönüyoruz?
the table is gone and
Bu
you
mu demek?
can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me
What the
just lead you
fuck?
real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going. And then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Ama bir kapı puzzle'ından geçmeden bir fikir değişmiyordu. Gerçi öyle bir şey demedi. Kapı puzzle'ından geçince fikir değişiyordu. Ama bunun tersi doğru olmak zorunda değil. Niye korku sesi çıkartıyor? Çat diye kilitlendi buraya. Hareket edemiyorum şu an. Oo, gelecekten arıyoruz. Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. You are me. Önceki bölümleri mi arıyoruz buradan? Önceki
It's a
versiyonları.
conversation.
Evet.
And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Yani being here sucks too. Ben de şu an trapped'ım. Burada hareket bile edemiyorum. Yok yok, bulursun abi. Aa evet. Bizim geçmişimizde bizi biri aramamıştı. Bir dakika, biz bir arama aldık mı? Yok, almadık. It will make sense. İnşallah.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself? To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Clean, clean. Clean, clean. Daha önce konuşmuştuk ama biriyle. Yine bu kafalardan.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Bu mantık mı? Yatağı yapacağım şimdi. Rug nerede? Burada. Vallahi maaşımızı alıyoruz. Nedense kodu hakkında biraz üzücü hissediyorum böyle bakınca. Pillows nerede? Burada. Bir dökmüş. Burada. Adam kendi kendine böyle şeyler yaparken boşluğa düşmüyor mudur hiç? Ha tab, wet tab, okey. Kitaplar nerede? Ha.
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's
Lupa
the
mı girdik?
moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Anlatacağım mısın onu? Benim çok düşündüğüm bir şey bu arada. genelde evimin pisliğiyle kafamdaki bulanıklık bağlantılı oluyor. Buna relate ettim yani kodu.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Sonra
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
yani şey mi demeye çalışıyor yani? Bu sırada mutluydu. Çok bir şey düşünmedi. Çok değişik şeylere girmedi. Amelasyon işleri yaptı ama bir yerden sonra
Which is the whole point of the puzzle
ilerlemeliydi.
doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
Yeah.
I really thought that was the point of it.
Eylül 2009.
This one
Items you
gets a
love
bit
at members
goofy.
only prices. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk olacağız galiba. Kalta mı giriyoruz? Tarikat üyesi olacağız. O da şu an korkutmaya başladı beni cidden.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Ha biz mi olduk? Acaba önce bu efekti bulup sonra bunun etrafında bir oyun
And
mu
you play
tasarladı?
as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Ha. Kids should not follow their dreams. Koda. Ha ben de oradayım. Yani gidemiyoruz oraya. Aa, bir oradan mı konuşuyorum? Cidden kendisiyle konuşuyor. Evet Kodacığım, being alone must be awful. Geçmem gereken şeyler mi orada çıkıyor? Şuraya baksak daha rahat okunur herhalde her şey. Üçe bak. Oğlum kara delik geldi, tamam yeter. Nothing, no one.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have.
Is
To
it?
assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
Evet.
I think about this game a lot these days.
O 2010'a geçtik.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Evet. This scene you'll be playing as me. We are the gathering of professionals. First you'll start out leaning against the wall. Okay. Across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her. To gain something, to succeed. Come on, say something to her. Tuvalet nerede? Ablam. Okay. Kız mı? Here are all of my hopes and dreams. Onun anısını yaşıyoruz ve hayır böyle dememiştim diyor. The icons that bounce when you touch them will represent people nearby. Bounce edecek mi? Rengi mi değişiyor? Okay. I'll bet you've learned to lean into the pain. Pain bu mu? Sen konuş abi o zaman. Zaten memories are constructed abicim. Nereden biliyorsun böyle olmadığını konuşmanın? Bir destination'a geldik gibi. Ama o 4 ay bunu mu yaptın abi? Burası eski memoriydi ve şu an
The game
memorileri
ends with this
hapse...
eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new
5 ay bu
game.
sefer. Gözlerim kapalı olması gerekiyormuş. Bir dakika o zaman. Bu bölümü bitiriyorum. Ve yeni bölüme geçip bunu yapacağım. Gözüm kapalıyken bir şey olup olmadığında sonra videodan izlerim. Tamam, güzel olacak bu. Okey, hadi görüşürüz.